Hi, Mr. Watson. I kind of like wrote somewhat of an essay, so I'm kind of just gonna read it. So if you see me like looking, that's what I'm doing. So I think that I agree more with Garber's more pessimistic view, but Booker argues that Romeo and Juliet's death finally bring peace to Verona, and he says that the two families are so shocked by the tragedy that they have like a complete change of heart, and he believes that their deaths kind of redeem the city, and that the ending shows life being restored and whole again. And like, I get it, it sounds nice and it's comforting to think that some good came out of such a sad story, but honestly, when you look at the ending, it doesn't feel that hopeful. Garber points out that the reconciliation really doesn't seem that deep. Like, families are grieving, sure, but instead of truly reflecting or taking responsibility, they immediately start building statues. As Garber says, they turn their grief into something material and not something meaningful, and that kind of really stood out to me. A golden statue of Juliet really doesn't fix anything, it kind of just covers up the pain with something shiny. It feels like they're trying to make something make it look like they've changed without actually doing like the hard emotional work. There's no real apology or acknowledgement of how their hatred literally led to the death of their own kids. The statue feels more like a guilt offering than real growth, and then there's the friar, and he explains everything that happened, but he doesn't really grow from it. He's more focused on clearing his name than recognizing how his secretive plans contributed to the chaos. Even the prince, who has the final word in the play, kind of just sums it all up and says they're punished, which, yes, is true, but it feels like he's more interested in restoring order than actually understanding what went wrong. And that's where Gerber's perspective feels more real to me. She basically says that the saddest part is that no one on stage really gets what happened. Romeo and Juliet died trying to love each other in a world that wouldn't let them. And people with power, like their parents, the friar and the prince, all kind of miss the bigger message. And then when they all stop fighting, but they don't truly change. And that connects to something I think is really important in the prince's final line: go hence and have more talk with these sad things. He doesn't say we fix everything and let's move on. He says we need to talk about it and we need to keep reflecting and processing. And honestly, I think that's the most honest line in the scene. And it really shows that real peace doesn't come from a statue or a handshake. It comes from ongoing conversation and real change. And the statue of Juliet, can things actually help achieve peace? Maybe. Symbols can be powerful, but they can also remind us of loss and honor someone's memory and even inspire change. But only if they're backed up by something real. If the statue is just a way for the Montagues to say we did something without changing their hearts or their actions, then no, it's not helpful. It's just decorations. So yeah, statues can be a part of healing, but they can't be healing. Reconciliation takes time. It takes honesty and accountability and the willingness to face the real pain. Without that, the statue just sits there and the cycle could just as easily start again. And that's why I think Garber's reading is way more accurate, and Booker gives us the feel-good version of the ending, but Garber reminds us that peace isn't just something you declare, rather it's something that you would work for over time. And Romeo and Juliet doesn't end with everything tied up in a cute little bow. It ends with a warning, and maybe the biggest lesson is that if we don't work for the change, tragedies like this will just keep happening.